Welcome to the Butcher Block Horror Podcast, where we exhume horror movies from the past and cut into what makes them so delectable.
Hi there.
I'm Kane.
I'm JD.
And I am Joe.
And today we're going to be throwing Lair of the White Worm onto the slab and carving up our favorite portions to force feed to you, our unwitting victims. If you enjoy the taste of these feasts of fright, then give us a like and subscribe, being sure to click on the bell. Consider taking a look at our website, WeGiveYouBrainworms.com. This will allow you to kind of take a look at everything that we do, including Brainworms Podcast and some upcoming stuff that we're getting involved in.
Oh, yeah.
It also is a good way for you to get to our Patreon, where you can give us the monies.
We'll give you stuff.
And we'll give you cool stuff. Yeah, so Lair of the White Worm.
Yeah.
Lair of the White Worm.
Sorry.
No,
Lair of the White Worm.
yeah.
Go ahead, guys. Speak.
I have very little to say about Lair of the White Worm.
You have little
God.
what to do and the where and the who?
What?
I have very little to say
you
about
know what?
Lair of the White Worm. I'm just going to clock off for the night. You guys have this.
No, absolutely not. JD, why don't you give us...
You want a layer of the white worm sandwich that I'm about to feed you? Okay.
Yeah, let's go ahead and slap some condiments on this.
Do you want us to suckle your white worm, JD? Is that what's happening
Suckle
here?
the mayo, the drippy.
No, hey.
Okay.
Hey, stay
All right,
focused.
I'm on task. I'm on the job. So, Lair of the White Worm is loosely based on the Bram Stoker novel Lair of the White Worm, if you can imagine that.
Whoa, you just
And-
blew my mind.
What?
Right. So, in 1988, a handful of Brits decided to create this horror film on a budget of $2 million. It was directed by Ken Russell, born 1927 in Southampton, Hampshire, England. And he's a British director, best known for, he won an Oscar for a movie called Women in Love in 1969.
Nice.
It's escaped my mind, the name of the production company. But anyway, the producer in that production company that worked with Russell on this film, his name is Dan Ireland. And
Was the production company White Lair?
you know, I read that, but there is an actual name
Yeah,
for the
that's what I read
production
as well.
company that is could be White Lair after a deal was made that they would. So Dan Ireland was a big fan of director Ken Russell because Ken Russell was sort of already established for doing some really kind of far out there stuff. Like you observed, awesome, strange scenes in that movie. Remember when the crucifix scene where the snake's kind of, twirling around and doing stuff, and there's some naked nuns all kind of writhing and...
I do like naked nuns.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, there's some serious stuff going on, but that was kind of like Ken Russell's style. He was a very risky dude as far as directors went and a bit of a risk taker, and especially for his culture and in that era, the 80s. He was also known for some low-budget experimental films, one called Lion's Mouth, and the other being Revenge of the Elephant Man. I have not seen either of those films. So anyway, Dan Ireland was a fan of his and tried to make a deal with this production company. They basically said that they wanted him to come up with a horror film, and then they'd fund him and produce his other prequel to Women in Love, which I believe that movie was called The Rainbow. He, when I say he, I'm referring to Ken Russell. He reads the book, Lair of the White Worm.
I don't envy him that. Like reading the whole thing.
He read the book. He didn't like it. He wasn't thrilled. And he was also sort of known for making, some literature and then adapting it.
Okay.
Sure. Listeners, if you would like a deep dive into the book that this movie was based on, that's much more enjoyable than reading the fucking thing. You can check out our companion podcast, Brainworms, and hear a little bit of that.
Yes, please do that. So I will try to scoop up the pieces of my shattered thought.
Sorry for interrupting.
No problem.
wanted to get
No
that in.
problem. I just, I'm struggling. I'm basically like this unmedicated ADHD kind of guy. So anyway, Russell, he reads the book, Lair of the White Worm, does not love it.
Yeah, because it's awful.
And
It
then,
sucks so hard.
so, I'm sure during the time that Bram Stoker wrote the book, it was probably pretty awesome. You'd probably read it back then and shit yourself.
No, even
you don't think so?
Even shitty writers like H.P. Lovecraft wrote about how terrible that book was.
Yeah, after Bram Stoker's death, it was edited down, and it was still too fucking long.
And bad.
Yeah. Well, so anyway, he ended up making this movie. Dan Ireland produced it, and they had kind of their paths had crossed in different areas in the past, and so they decided to work together on this in the production company. And then, like whatever you were saying, you said White Worm or White Lair or something production. Maybe
that's what's listed on IMDb.
I want to say then that union may have formed and been titled during or maybe after this film was created. So yeah, it was produced by Dan Ireland. He's an American. He was born in Portland, Oregon, 1949. He's the co-founder of the Seattle International Film Festival. I don't know a whole lot about Dan Ireland. Ken Russell also helped to produce this film, so he directed and produced. And there is a William J. Quigley, and he worked on, I looked into William J. Quigley a bit, and he worked on some really excellent horror films, one being Waxworks.
Oh, nice.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, Waxworks is a good time. I recommend it, and I hope that we will eventually cover that here on the Butcher Block Horror Podcast. So
yeah.
It's a good time. He also produced The Unholy and another movie called The Dead. Really creative title on that one, wouldn't you say?
It says what it has to say.
Yeah.
Another credit in the production end is Ronaldo Vasconcelos. I hope I pronounced that correctly. And he worked on some Guy Ritchie films. He produced a movie called Hot Fuzz, and he produced Shaun of the Dead.
Oh, nice.
Which I thought was kind of cool.
Both great movies.
Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, I believe, was the Guy Ritchie film that he produced. That's Guy Ritchie, correct?
I believe
Director.
so, yeah. Yes.
Okay. The screenplay writer for Lair of the White Worm was Ken Russell, the director and co-producer. I think he did a pretty solid job as far as screenplay goes, but there's parts of this movie, and I'll share my opinions later. I'm gonna reserve my opinions until we kind of go round robin. The music,
Stanislas Sirowitz.
yes, okay, that's really great. Better than I think I would have done with that pronunciation. He's Russian, born 1946, known for some movie. I'm a scanner. He's known for music in the movies Stalin, and then Chillers, whatever that is, and then Extreme Ops. Don't know that one.
I mean, he's got a shit ton of movies under his credit.
Yeah. And I feel like really the sound didn't really stand out to me in a tremendous way that I wasn't blown away. Like, he's no Richard Band. You know what I'm saying? Like, not to like slight this guy or compare him to Richard Band, but anyway.
I liked the synthesizers in the soundtrack.
Yeah, I liked it too. Again, nothing like Richard Band.
Oh, hell no.
is a fucking
Kind of a
wizard.
Yeah.
category all his own.
Yeah.
Right. The cinematography in Lair of the White Worm was by Dick Bush. He was from Devonport, United Kingdom, 1931. And he's a pretty prolific cinematographer. He has a 30-year career. And he had done cinematography work for a couple other of Ken Russell's films. 2 of them, or 3 of them, were Savage Messiah, another one called Mahler, and another one titled Tommy.
The Who's Tommy or a different Tommy?
You know what? I'm not sure about that, but it's a Ken Russell film. Oh, I should add one other bit about. Can you say the music, the creator of the music's name again? Stanislas
Sirowitz.
Okay, Sirowitz. He actually scored.
If the listeners are like, why is this fuckbag continuously butchering that name?
Yes.
Feel free to comment and be like, no, you're saying it wrong.
And you're a fuckbag.
So anyway, he made music for a movie called Satan's Blood Claw,
It sounds amazing.
Twins of Evil, and Dracula AD. That's just cool shit. So anyway, back to Dick Bush. Didn't mean to jump around, but I just wanted to give credit where it was due. Thought those were cool movie titles. Had to share them. Anyway, Dick Bush. He did cinematography on Little Monsters. You remember that movie with Fred Savage?
Yeah.
Like Fred Savage was a little kid.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, people
liked it
think
when I
that
was, like,
movie's...
And
Exactly. People think that movie's great, and then you go back and watch it as an adult, and you're like, this is a pile of shit.
yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen it in years and years, so I mean, I watched it and I was about yay tall, and it seemed okay at the time, but he also, we're talking about Dick Bush still.
Yeah.
He was the cinematographer for a couple of the Pink Panther movies.
Right on.
Yeah.
The 70s and 80s Pink Panther, or are we talking about Steve Martin Pink Panther?
I think 70s, 80s.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in and talk about the cast a little bit.
Yeah.
Do it.
Okay. So there was this like London-born actor that everybody knows in romantic comedies. He was born in 1960.
Wait, what was his
he's
name?
He has a giant monobrow. It's amazing. And he played the character of Lord James D. Ampton.
Yeah, who was that, though?
Yeah, what was the name of that actor? I'm not sure who you're talking about.
I don't think it really matters. It doesn't matter to me
Right,
anyway.
but I mean,
It matters to the listeners.
yeah, for the listeners, man, we can't shortchange
Hugh
them.
Grant.
There we go.
Hugh Grant. I just didn't want anybody to know that I watched a Hugh Grant movie.
Well, I mean, we're covering the Lair of the White Worm, and all anyone has to do is type in Lair of the White Worm, and he's the first fucking face in the cast. So
Yeah. No, I understand.
you're caught.
I don't know.
You've been outed.
All right. My confession is on the table. Now.
You watched a
It's
Hugh
out.
Grant
It's out in
movie.
the open. I watched a Hugh Grant movie. It's finally happened. So anyway, so he's a winner of a Golden Globe and a BAFTA and an honorary Caesar, whatever that is. I'm sure it's cool.
He was also
Sounds made
awarded some serious trouble at one point for purchasing the services of a sex worker by the name of Pancake.
It's true.
Ooh, that's a sweet detail.
Go Hugh Grant.
How did you acquire that information?
It's
Did you
none of your
pull that straight
goddamn
from
business.
the file?
All right.
Did you? Are you a hacker? Did you hack into some file
Kane's
and
just
find
a
that
really
out?
big Hugh Grant fan.
I am.
He's a prolific
Followed
hacker.
his career just since the mid '80s, really.
Yeah. Since Lair of the
During
White
the
Worm.
watch party, I could almost feel your boner for Hugh Grant.
I mean, you could audibly hear him just licking his
I could
screen
hear it.
when Hugh Grant was on. Like there would just be this.
I mean, just those
sound
eyes
every time.
and that laugh, and then just the kind of uppity, snobbish way of speaking that he had.
right.
It takes a girl's breath away. All right. We were going to
Okay.
have a very classy dinner.
Sure.
And then maybe go for a stroll in London.
And
you know.
yeah, just in the city, not like in a meadow or anything.
No meadows.
Okay.
I don't like that shit. I want to be in the city.
He likes cold, foggy streets.
Exactly.
I get that.
That's
I get
cool.
that.
Yeah.
It's very like spooky.
Yeah. That's
Being that it's October 2nd, spooky is in order.
yes.
Is it not? Is it not?
It is.
It is.
it
The
not?
spooky month has very much begun.
It has.
Spooky or not, Kane would be walking with Hugh Grant on a foggy night and on a damp London street.
Yep.
As damp as Dr. Pretorius from Beyond.
No, but
so
to be perfectly honest, I don't really have a crush on Hugh Grant,
Okay.
but I do think Amanda.
You like his monobrow. You want to comb his monobrow?
I do think that Amanda Donahoe is fucking amazing.
Oh, we're gonna talk about her very soon, and she was a phenomenal character in this film. Without her, I
Such
don't
a good
know
villain.
that I may have fallen asleep without her in this film. I'm just
I
putting that
kind
out
of
there.
almost fell asleep. Even I wasn't as smitten with her as the
I
two of you
heard
seem
you
to be.
yawn during the watch party a few times. I was smitten. Kane was in lust.
Maybe
and
like her 80s hotness, like because you guys are a little bit older than I am. Maybe I like there's a generation gap thing happening there.
What? She
But I
should have
just-
been in Jankos and torn up flannel fucking.
What?
Like what are we?
Well, no, but just
She
you
could
know,
have been in a
fashion
Robert Palmer
evolves.
video.
Yeah. And I'm just saying maybe there was like something that I was missing out on.
I mean, there's
Um,
probably a lot you're missing out on in the
You
scheme of
missed out on
things.
the 80s. Yeah, you missed out on
Yeah,
the
I
80s
was born
if you
in
weren't.
85, so I might have missed some clues there. But yeah, I wasn't as smitten with her as the two of you seem to be.
Yeah, we were fond. Anyway.
Yeah, Hugh Grant.
Hugh Grant.
Yeah,
I'll say his name again. I'm
If
not
you say it
too
3 times,
proud.
he's going to show up in your fucking house.
That's not Beetlejuice.
Don't.
You can't fucking
it's close.
summon
It's
Hugh
close.
Grant by calling out his name 3 times in a mirror while
Yeah.
holding a box of Bisquick, all right? It's just not going to happen.
Guess what Kane's going to do as soon as we're done here? He's going to go into his bathroom and turn the lights off and say Hugh Grant's name over and over again in the mirror. No. Anyway. He's known for some piece of shit called 4 Weddings and a Funeral.
Yeah.
Has
Yeah.
anyone seen that?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, now I'm going to go ahead and talk about Amanda Donahoe.
Woohoo!
Yeah, there you go. You feel good? I feel good. Anyway,
good.
she was born in 1962 in London, England, and she played the character of Lady Sylvia Marsh, who was like this very sexy, seductive snake queen. And she had a lot of experience in dance. Now, I found out some interesting stuff about her. Do you guys happen to remember Adam Ant?
I do.
Yeah.
The music, whatever you want to call him?
Yeah.
He wrote like a song called Wonderful, I think, and like some other shit.
Stand and Deliver.
Was that it? Okay, Stand and Delivered. Well, anyway, at one point, he was standing and delivering with Amanda Donahoe because they like lived together, and I think they were kind of like a they were a thing. And at some point though, that was early on, and I think they
Yeah, I think
had their
she
love
was like
affair, and
16.
that might have been who Wonderful was about then. The song Wonderful by Adam Ant. That could have been who he was singing of, but who knows? Could have been someone else. That's how music writers do their shit. They get like inspiration. So I could see her being a muse. What do you think?
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
she's probably a little young for him, but
Oh yeah, I'm sure of it. But I don't know how old he was. He could have been 17. You know what I mean?
Don't think that's likely.
No, he was born
How-
in 1954, and she
Okay.
was born in 1962. So
Okay.
he would have been drinking age in the U.S. when they were,
Okay. So anyway, he holds a Golden Globe Award. I'm sorry, Amanda Donahoe does. She holds a Golden Globe Award for Best Supporting Actress in L.A. Law. I didn't know that L.A. Law won any sort of awards, but apparently it did. And she was a character, C.J. Lamb. I never really watched L.A. Law, so I don't know. And then she was also in the movie, I want to say it was the Women in Love. Yeah, so she was also in the prequel to that called The Rainbow. And then she was in, she made an appearance in the movie Liar, Liar with Jim Carrey. I kind of want to like go back and watch it and see her in that because she didn't stand out in my mind and when I saw Liar, Liar. What'd you guys think of Liar, Liar?
I found Jim Carrey kind of obnoxious, even in the 90s.
Yeah, he gets a little grating on the nerves. But I think these days he's he's kind of like found himself. He's like a hippie artist or something, which is kind of fun.
she was. I don't know if you guys. So she was the sexually aggressive boss. If you watched the movie
In Liar, Liar.
yeah.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna have to go back now and watch that. Did she still have it?
Absolutely. I mean, I think she still has it.
Oh, awesome.
Amanda Donahoe is
She still has it right now.
right now.
She's always gorgeous.
She's
I believe
just
it. I
always
believe
going
it.
to be.
Yep. Gorgeous energy. Anyway, another actress in the film who played Eve Trent, that was Catherine Oxenberg, born 1961, New York City. And she was best known for playing the character of Amanda Carrington in the 80s soap opera Dynasty, which I never watched that shit.
No.
She's actually, this is an interesting little bit of knowledge on Mrs. Oxenberg. She's the daughter of Princess Elizabeth of Yugoslavia.
Oh, wow.
Right. Who would have thought? She was a guest host on Saturday Night Live one weekend in 1986. And she had a pretty fucking gigantic TV career. So I'm not going to go ahead and list that monstrous fucking list of shit that she was in. But she had a smaller film career. There was a movie called Overexposed, and then The Omega Code, and then Starship Troopers 3. So they missed her on 1 and 2, but they picked her up in 3. Then there was Peter Capaldi, and he played, what was he, like an archaeologist sort of character? His name was Angus Flint. Born 58, in 1958 in Glasgow, Scotland. And he is best known for being the 12th Doctor Who.
Which is cool. I mean, I don't Doctor Who, but I know lots of people that do.
Yeah, I mean, like, I've seen that guy's face a lot, and it was fun seeing him that much younger.
Fun to see him super young in Lair of the White Worm. Yeah. He played a character named Malcolm Turner in the Thick of It. I'm not sure exactly what that is. And he was also in a movie called In the Loop. And he's also a director. He has an Academy Award. He's an Academy Award winner. And he also has a BAFTA Award. And I believe that was for a short film based off of Franz Kafka's It's a Wonderful Life.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then, I'm going to kind of run down my list here and land on Sammy Davis real quick.
Not Sammy Davis Jr.
Not to be confused with Sammy Davis Jr. Anyway, Sammy Davis, born in 1964 in England, and she played Mary Trent. And she's known for being in Mona Lisa in 1986 and Ken Russell's The Rainbow. She was in it's interesting how many of these people's paths cross earlier on. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, Amanda Donohoe was in The Rainbow, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, we noticed that same thing with Peter Jackson and Dead Alive. Yep. We noticed that same thing.
And, Kevin Smith was very famous for doing that too, bringing actors up that he worked with.
And obviously Tim Burton.
Yeah.
Right. I think he only casts 2 people in any of his movies.
It's true.
Is Johnny Depp doing anything? No? Cool. Well, you'll have him be in this movie. Helena Bonham Carter, is she doing anything? Cool. Let's have her be in this movie.
Yup.
And there it is. Yeah. That's the whole movie.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Pretty much how it went. Sammy Davis had a cameo role on the show Lost for fans of Lost. I'm not familiar, but anyway, she played Dominic Monaghan's mother.
That means completely nothing to me.
I don't watch Lost, but if any of our listeners watch Lost, that was Sammy Davis.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then there was Stratford Johns, and he played Peters. He's a South African actor, born 1925. He was kind of like that older gentleman, I believe, maybe like an assistant to Hugh Grant's character.
Wait.
Do you guys remember him?
Who was the cop?
The cop is Paul Brook.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
His name was Ernie. Yeah. Police officer Ernie.
That guy was the butler.
So then Stratford Johns, we can just say that Peters was the butler.
Okay.
Yeah.
He buttles.
He buttled quite a bit during this film. And he, I believe, that was the police officer that turned into a cool serpent. But we'll get to that.
Yeah, Paul Brook just got eaten. Or no, Stratford Johns just got eaten.
Stratford Johns, he was snake food. Snake food. You're snake food, bro.
Yeah, we just see his invented corpse.
Yup.
Yeah. He was best known, though, for playing a detective inspector named Charlie Burlow in a long-running BBC police series called Z-Cars. If any British listeners might know Z-Cars. I don't know Z-Cars. Anyway, Paul Brook, he was the police officer, or maybe are they bobbies? Was that an old expression?
A constable? I don't know.
The constable. Yeah, he
was definitely part of the constabulary. Yeah. So there we go.
British listeners, feel free to tell us how badly we've misrepresented your culture.
Yeah, well, I apologize now.
I
don't have to do it again. Okay. Anyway, Paul Brook, born in London, England, 1944, son of actor Tom Brook. I don't know if anyone's familiar with Tom Brook.
No.
But I didn't do any research, so I don't even know. Anyway.
Was this because you hate Hugh Grant so much? You're like, you know what?
Or was this because you researched the incorrect movie the night before?
Well, let's not, go too far into what I did wrong, because Anyway.
I love you.
Paul Brook, he was, and I'm going to butcher the fuck out of this because I'm not like a total Star Wars nerd, but he played
It's a
the
made-up
role
word. Say
of
it however the fuck you want.
Malakili the Rancor in The Return of the Jedi. I have no idea who that was, but anyway.
Anybody who's going to bully or hassle you over your pronunciation of that name can fuck off.
A Star Wars
Yeah.
character. Yeah, thank you for having my back on that, Joe. I appreciate you.
Oh, we definitely have your back
Yeah.
on that.
Especially against Star Wars fans because they don't deserve
Yeah.
Star Wars and fuck them.
Yeah, and I prefer Star Trek to Star Wars. There it is. I've said it.
I just like the movies. I don't have an obsession with the mythology behind it.
Yeah.
Sure. So then we're going to go ahead and talk about Imogen Clare. She is a London-born actress.
Very brief role.
1943. Very brief role as Dorothy Trent. And she's a dancer. She was trained at the Royal Ballet School.
Me too.
I didn't know that they had a roller. Wait, you, Joe, were also trained at the Royal Ballet School?
was.
Holy shit.
And then he got into a fight with a tornado, and it ruined his dancing
And it
career.
broke his
Ruined my
legs,
dancing
and he
career,
never
yeah.
danced again.
I
Yeah.
can't
No,
get
no,
up
it
on-
broke
I
his
can't get on
back.
point anymore.
The Taz got you
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
damaged,
So
damaged your legs.
real quick, JD, which part
Yes.
of that story do you think is bullshit?
All of it.
Well, you're wrong, but I'm derailing us. So let's get back into. So
It's
Imogen
fine. No, we
Clare.
can talk about anything but Lair the White Worm if you
Lair
want.
the
So
White Worm 'cause you hated it.
Imogen Clare
Imogen Clare.
was an awesome.
She could really shake her tail feathers. She was a royal ballet dancer,
Well, she was also an awesome snake person vampire thing.
right? No, she had definite skills in the art of dance, and she was in a part of the London Dance Theater. I mean, you're not just London Dance Theater doesn't just call you up and say, "Oh, hey, you want to come dance with us?" Unless you got some serious fucking moves.
true.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Right.
So she was in a bunch of Ken Russell's films. That's how she wound up in this film. Ken Russell really thought a lot of her, apparently, because she was in The Music Lovers, The Devils, Savage Messiah, Mahler, Tommy. And so those were the Ken Russell films she was in, but she was also in what I thought was pretty cool. She was one of the Transylvanians in the Rocky Horror Picture
Oh,
Show.
that's cool.
Oh, that's fucking cool.
Yeah. So, and she might
like-
have done the Time Warp at one point.
One of two musicals I don't hate.
I remember doing the time.
Yeah, musicals are pretty hateable for me. I could do Singing in the Rain, but just like early on, like I could do like the Fit as a Fiddle song, you know, but after that, I'm not that into it. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about Chris Pitt.
That poor
And,
bastard.
Yeah. And I don't know where he's from, but he played Kevin.
Oh, poor Kev.
Yeah, sorry, Chris Pitt. We don't know where you're from. He's known for something called EastEnders.
Very popular
And then
television show
for...
in the UK.
Okay, that makes sense because it seemed to be like a thing. And then he was in something called For Queen and Country. I'm assuming that's an American show. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, there's Gina McKee, and she played Nurse Gladwell. She was born in England, 1964. Has a BAFTA award for Best Actress in something called Our Friends in the North. And she was also in The Lost Prince, and then another film called The Street. And she appears in Notting Hill, and then another movie called In the Loop, and Phantom Thread. I don't know what any of
I
that
haven't
stuff
heard
is about.
Of
but
any of that.
yeah.
No.
I think it's a lot of like British stuff
Sure.
that I'm just not knowledgeable of. So if any of our listeners are familiar with any of this, please drop a line in the comments and say if it's good or bad or otherwise.
Yeah.
Then there was Christopher Gable as Joe Trent, born 1940 in London.
So, in case the listeners are having a hard time following, the two characters, Eve Trent and Mary Trent, were
Mhm.
two sisters looking for their parents,
Mhm.
which is Dorothy Trent and Joe Trent, who were conspicuously very young
Yeah.
for how old their children were.
Yeah. And they were running the bed and breakfast that Peter Capaldi was excavating for snake skeletons.
And
To find
Early
snake dragon
Roman-
worms.
artwork,
Yeah.
the artwork that
Yeah,
was hidden.
and he found coins and stuff.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
found this movie very
were
hard
kinda-
to pay attention to.
Well, you know what? You guys comprehended a hell of a lot more than I did while watching. I was
I mean,
kind of just
I actually liked the movie, so I think that's probably where it all goes weird, because you guys both hated that movie. I think this is our second one where I really liked The Gate and you guys didn't really like The Gate.
Yeah, I think just your love of horror movies will forgive a multitude of sins.
I mean, I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
I think it's, even if it's a terrible horror movie, I generally enjoy it.
Sure.
Except for Spasms.
Right.
Spasms was
barely a horror
unforgivable.
movie.
Right.
Well, I think that's what happened to us. We got all fucking snaked out last
I
week,
can only
and
handle
then
so many snakes.
we met our quota of snakes running into this week. So we were just so fucking like snake heavy. We had too much snake happening. That's really all it comes down to. We had all sorts of snake going on.
Fun drinking game. Every time JD says snake during this episode, take a drink.
Ooh, don't do that. You'll be fucking wasted.
Yeah, you might die. So we don't actually encourage you doing that.
I do.
Well,
all right, so
that's fine.
So
there's a disclaimer there.
What do we know about the stuff that we really like, that even if we don't necessarily like the movie, what do we know about the effects team?
There is no special effects listed. I assume that was kind of like a role sort of taken on by the production company, and I researched special effects and literally found nothing on this. I don't know who that would have been.
Well, that's fucked up, because that's like some of the best parts of this movie.
I know, it looked like a lot of it was, well, it was the 80s, so chroma key green screen.
You know, I feel like a lot of that was Ken Russell's imagination because of his... I would just assume that if there was anything out of the ordinary and obscure or crazy looking, that would be Ken Russell and the type of stuff that he was known for. So, I mean, if he... I'm assuming he took the direction on most of the visuals we saw, because that's like characteristic of all of his films. That type of stuff happens.
Yeah, it looks like Wikipedia is just saying, just Russell did all of that with green screens. Yeah. So he may have been the beginning and end of the special effects team.
And you know, I mean, he wrote the screenplay and co-produced, and I mean, so I think this film was really his little baby.
I mean, I really enjoyed the ending worm. I mean, I liked the worm during the little like cut scenes too, but I really enjoyed that final worm. Like, you know, having
like
it was
that
a pretty good. It was
deep
a pretty good
hole.
worm.
Having went through Spasms and seeing what they tried to do.
Right.
Yeah, and an atrocious snake head. The fucking mouth didn't open or close. It was just like this fixed thing. And it really looked more like Godzilla than a snake.
A poor rendition of Godzilla.
Yeah, not even good. It looked like it was carved out of a fucking piece of wood. Like they found like a branch that was struck by lightning and fell from a tree, and they're like, let's paint it and carve it.
Like a dollar store Godzilla toy.
Yeah. Like it could have been like one of those claw monsters from the 80s where you squeeze the handle and the mouth open and closes.
But the white worm, the Dampton worm.
The Dampton worm
was pretty fucking good.
Pretty good.
I enjoyed that.
And a derivative of the Lambton worm in the British folklore.
Yeah. Right.
The Lambton worm.
All right, so I guess we should probably go ahead and talk about personal experience with the movie.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do what we normally do, and we'll have Joe. We'll have Joe fire off first, then JD.
Yeah. Again, I hadn't seen this movie. It was a little bit before my time, and you were like, "Hey, watch this movie." So I did, and it was very hard for me to stay interested. When the surreal green screen stuff was happening, I was kind of on board, and you know the nudity was eye catching.
Yeah.
But really, any time that none of those things were happening, I was kind of zoning out, disassociating, struggling to cling to the story and not look at Twitter. So do what you want with that. It certainly wasn't a scary horror movie.
No.
But it was cool to look at. The weird surrealism of it was nice. It was just the story and the acting that I found really hard to engage with.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Was there anything that kind of, popped up during the movie where, you were like, I'd like to put this out into the ether and have some discussions about it?
No, not really.
Okay.
Just things I've already said. The worm was cool.
'Twas.
I am kind of curious if I assume it was some kind of puppet or something that they green screened in, but I would be curious to see the puppet if it's still intact.
That would be awesome.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome. Be super cool to see that.
Yep.
All right, JD, I'm sure you have similar feelings.
I thought the movie was cool, and I enjoyed that Ken Russell's directing style was very prevalent throughout the film, and some of the most bizarre scenes were they were horrific and artful in the same, at the same time. There was this really strangeness to it, and the movie, I would say,
the snake venom acid trip stuff was really fun.
Yeah, I just liked how there was weirdness going on, and I kind of think of something that I read about Ken Russell, that all of his films were intended to be comedies, and that they would be jokes that no one would understand until the final line of the film was delivered, and then that line would go over your head. So it was like, that's how he approached his filmmaking.
There were moments in the movie where I felt like the movie was trying to be funny, and it didn't make me laugh. So
yeah, it was a lot of tongue-in-cheek stuff going on that wasn't I think it was just kind of quick and not set up well, and then you could miss a lot of stuff. But I right away, how how sexual it was. There was a lot of sexuality happening in the movie, like
very horny,
fairly horny movie. And there was a scene where, like, I believe it was Amanda Donahoe, she's like, seducing this young chap and sort of brings him back to her home and like seduces him and, like gives him a kiss on the lips that sort of like inebriates him and puts him in this trance-like state. She does it to a few characters in the film, but in him in particular, it was so weird to me that like she like bends down and like bites him on the penis. They don't show that, but they imply it. And then, he's like in a lot of pain, and then next thing you know, the dude's like up to his neck in a hot tub, and then, the door rings, and of course it's Hugh Grant, a next victim, and then she goes and just...
Well, hey, for the record, he was going to be the virginal sacrifice.
Right.
Oh, he was the original...
And then Hugh Grant showed up and ruined it.
Yeah, and Hugh Grant showed up and ruined the party, and so then she just stepped on his head until he was under the water.
What you're telling us is that Hugh Grant cock-blocked the white worm. He indirectly cock-blocked the fucking the Dampton worm.
Yeah.
The worm was the biggest cock of them all.
Yeah. Well, no, clearly, because he lived inside that gigantic cave, and who knows really how long he was. He never really fully like showed him his whole self, but
it's true.
Down there just being gelatinous with his mouth open, waiting for his, his food.
As you do.
So anyway, I thought that was kind of crazy. But anyway, the young guy, she like puts her foot on his head and pushes him under the water. And then you assume that he just suffocates while she goes to flirt with Hugh Grant. Yeah, I don't know. It was just a strange movie. Everything kind of felt disjointed. And I'm sure that's part of, Ken Russell's style. And, there were a few moments where I felt like the special effects were kind of strong, but most of it I felt they were kind of weak. It was more about like implied gore, and there were a few bite marks shown that I didn't really think very much of. They looked like somebody kind of made like a little row of fake skin and then sprayed it with I don't know what, something that looked like pus. It was supposed to be snake venom that could go from really viscous and watery to sort of chunky in a matter of seconds. And yeah, I don't know. That's as far as my mind sort of wrapped around what I was seeing.
The song, the White Worm song that rock band played throughout the movie.
The Lambton Worm.
Yeah. That was good. That was the best thing about the movie.
That was the name of the song, the Lambton Worm?
Yep. Well, they changed it to the Dampton Worm for the movie.
The Dampton Worm, right. Sure. But the name of the song was the Lambton Worm after the folklore?
Yeah, because it's the book was actually taken from real folklore.
Yeah.
Right. And that folklore actually is about a guy who like skips church to go fishing and then encounters like basically a dragon. And then he's got to fucking deal with it.
Yeah, I mean sometimes your hand is forced and you have to throw a dragon down a well. And then it grows up and starts eating babies.
Yeah, and eats your town.
And then you poison the well, though, right? I think the well was poisoned in their folklore.
Maybe.
Yeah, I didn't get that far into it.
Well,
I was being sarcastic. That song sucked. I just wanted to make that clear.
I enjoyed the song, but I also just liked the movie in general.
Sure.
I had a good time. I found it entertaining.
Yeah, you're allowed to be wrong. It's fine.
Yeah, and as soon as I am, I'll let you know. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Peter Capaldi was incredibly charming
He was
in this
he
movie.
was. I can't take that
From
away.
the fucking get-go. I fell in love with his character, and honestly, it felt like they were trying to initially make Hugh Grant, because he's Dampton, he's Lord Dampton.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like they were trying to make him like the hero of the day.
Mhm.
And, he gets his heroic moment, when he chops Imogen Claire's character in half. And I thought that was a fun special effect where, half of her body is like wiggling around, her legs are wiggling and her torso's like moving forward to kind of attack you. But honestly, Peter Capaldi's character, Angus Flint, he is the fucking hero of the day. He fucking used bagpipes to put down Ernest.
Yeah.
Ernie or
Yeah,
whatever.
seduce snakes.
Any instrument that was kind of drony could hypnotize the snake people.
Yeah, somebody used a harmonica at one point.
That was
Yeah.
Kev. Kev used a harmonica. But I mean, he showed zero fear for his own life. He just fucking rolled in
With a bagpipe.
with the bagpipes, just walking through the house, realized that he was probably going to get fucked up by the lady, by Amanda Donahoe.
Right.
And injected himself with what he thought was an antidote.
Mhm.
So that when the time came for him to battle the white worm, he was up and ready to do it. I thought that
And what did the nurse say that
for
it was?
arthritis.
medicine, yeah.
Arthritis meds. Damn.
Yeah, it was definitely not a good day for Angus Flint when that went down. And we can assume that, he got the venom out of Mary, but did not get it out of Eve.
And he didn't get it out of himself.
Right.
Exactly. And
He's going to turn into a snake man.
He's going to turn into a snake vampire.
Yeah.
But I thought he was fantastic. I don't have an opinion generally of Hugh Grant. I don't love him or hate him.
Yeah, even in this, he was just there.
But he really did. I felt like he played a lord.
Yeah,
Like the way that he interacted with
He had
people,
that, like,
the way that
foppish kind of
exactly that speech pattern. He really felt like, I'm a lord. I've never worked a day in my life,
Right.
like that kind of thing. But I mean, honestly,
that might just be his personality, though, because that's kind of the character he plays in everything.
But Amanda Donahoe,
Mhm.
she was fucking fantastic as a villain.
Sure.
She had
she really did a great
these
job.
long, elegant monologues where she's describing to these kind of ensorcelled people like what she's going to do and how she's going to do it.
Mhm.
And they're paralyzed from the venom.
Yeah, so they kind of just do what she tells them to do because she's envenomed them.
Right.
Yeah.
So I thought that her character was just fucking fantastic. I liked the lore wasn't like fed to you. You had to kind of figure out some of it on your own.
Sure.
And, it wasn't like they were hiding anything. So it was easy to figure out.
Right.
Right.
But discovering that she is, an aristocrat in England
Mhm.
that is well known, and she always comes back in the spring. So that was fun, to be like, oh, she's a fucking snake lady. She sleeps through the fucking winter.
Right. That never even occurred to me until you just said it now.
I thought that was fucking fantastic. I was like, oh my God, that's so good. Like, oh, you're usually gone until spring. And it's like, of course she fucking is. She's a snake person.
Mhm.
That's awesome. I think that might have been a Ken Russell detail.
It was good. And then there was just the weird fucking trippy airplane dream.
Oh, yeah.
Like I thought that was a fucking fantastic ride down to fucking Crazy Land.
Right.
Like just
The dream sequences were purely like Ken Russell's signature in film.
well, I enjoyed them. I thought they were fun.
Yeah. Then you might want to check out some of those other movies because they're known to be far out. And that's like I said, that's his signature as a director and a writer and all of that stuff. So
Well, I mean, I enjoy movies that are far out, but still adhere to a plot.
Sure.
So if his shit is like just far out for far out's sake, those movies can go fuck themselves. I don't have any type of need to sit through and try to piece together that bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that I guess I don't know, but I do understand that he has a bit of an avant-garde style when it comes to the things that he does, and just sort of weaves it in. I would assume that he would probably weave it in the same way that it was woven into Lair of the White Worm in other films.
Right on. Well, I mean, that's I thought it was great. Obviously, Joe and JD did not.
I thought it was very boring.
Well, I thought Amanda Donahoe was cool, and Peter Capaldi was
he was charming.
Yeah, he did a nice job, and the poor kid that got his penis bitten by a snake woman, I think.
Poor Kev.
Yeah, poor Kev,
Hashtag poor Kev. That's...
Yeah, that's going up on the Instagram later.
Yeah,
I'm going to find a picture of Kevin.
Can we tweet at Hugh Grant and see if he's interested in making a sequel to this film, since it's set up the sequel bait that it set up? That I would like to see where it goes, honestly.
I don't think we should.
I think we should.
I think we should tweet at Amanda Donahoe just to thank her
for
making this movie.
Don't tweet at her.
We should tweet at Hugh Grant and let him know that this was his best
film. What are you talking about? I respect women, and what are you talking about?
I just wanted to make that joke. You're fine.
Yeah. Like
we should tweet at Hugh Grant and don't go there. We should tweet at Hugh Grant and let him know that this was his best film.
Yeah,
he's going to talk about the watch party.
I got to be honest with you. This is the only Hugh Grant movie I've ever watched.
I think I've been in rooms where other Hugh Grant movies were playing.
And you tune them out?
Yeah, I've never actively watched one.
Good for you.
But do tweet at Hugh Grant, this was your best film.
Best
because
film,
that
hands
would
down.
Be fucking hilarious.
Just make him feel good about this.
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, hopefully he doesn't listen back to the episode so that he could hear about how much you fucking hate him. How initially you refused to say his name.
Mm-hmm.
Look,
he's not going to care.
Actors are fucking people too.
They have
okay,
feelings,
they're people too, and they have feelings. And if he listened to this podcast and heard you saying the things you said, those are hurtful things.
True,
JD. Hurtful things.
Yeah, no, that's true. I understand it. But if he comes at me with some venom, so be it.
But you know what? I think now's the time to say, listeners, we're glad that you sat with us.
Yeah.
If you watch Lair of the White Worm, let us know what you think.
Let us know if you stayed awake through it, because I had trouble.
Yeah. And you can let JD and Joe know that they're dick faces and that it's an awesome movie, and join my side. It's Team Kane is hashtag Team Kane. And you could also...
The Lambton worm or the Dampton worm? I keep forgetting.
It's the Dampton worm in the movie. It's the Lambton worm in the folk song.
If Johnny Lambton or Dampton, the guy who encountered in the folklore the worm, I wonder if that worm sounded like the worm from Labyrinth. I keep on picturing with that.
Hello.
Yeah, I can dig that.
It's like, imagine that.
Don't go that way.
You've skipped church to go
fishing.
fishing.
She'd have gone that way. Go straight to the castle.
You skip church to go fishing. You've just cast your line in the water, and you pull up this basically like a snake dragon, and then it pops out of the water, and it's like,
hello, look at my knob. Yeah, I think that'd be all right.
How do you do?
All right.
Can we get some art
Pull yourself
from
together.
the art department of Kane's face on the worm from Labyrinth? Because I'd like to see that.
No, that's stupid.
Photoshop.
Yeah.
Bring it. Hey, our listeners, if you could Photoshop Kane's face onto the worm from the Labyrinth.
Don't do that.
That's going to go on our Instagram.
We will.
That's excellent.
We will send you
fantastic
an autographed thing.
Resources.
Yeah. If you come in with that
whose
fan art.
autograph?
We know people.
Are we going to get somebody that's
famous.
worth a shit?
Well, clearly, if they like the show enough to do fan art that I just whimsically demanded from them, then
I'll take you bowling.
I can send them an autographed picture, and they will say thank you.
Yeah,
I'll take you bowling, and then we'll get
regardless,
pizza.
if you guys watch the movie and you like it as much as I do,
Then what
we
the
can
fuck
tell
is wrong with
JD
you?
and Joe to go fuck it. All right, just tell them
To go fuck the movie?
Tell us to go fuck a pumpkin.
Yeah, they can go find a pumpkin and fuck that pumpkin.
Fuck
It's prime pumpkin fucking season, I suppose.
Regardless,
Yep.
whatever you think of the movie, send us a message or comment. Also, we warn you against forgetting to like, follow, and subscribe.
And click the bell.
And click the bell.
You don't want to do
And
that.
for like we've said before, for the month of October, we're partnering up with our sister, cousin, uncle, nephew, niece podcast, Brainworms Podcast.
We are balls deep in
and
brainworms.
And they're deep diving into the books that got turned into these films. And, some funny stuff gets talked about, but honestly, these books aren't great.
No, except
And-
for the one that we'll be covering next week, which
Right.
I have some insight into because
Right.
of how recording
Well, let's
works.
keep it a secret for now.
But
Just keep
you might
secret.
enjoy it a little more.
Right.
Joe's foreshadowing.
But yeah, go to wegiveYouBrainworms.com. That'll give you access to our Patreon so that you can give us some money so that we can keep doing this all the time.
Yep.
And there's also access to, Brainworms and some other projects we're going to be doing. Those are going to show up on the website. Thank you and have a good night.
Bye.
Thank you.
Or day. I guess it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Time is a flat circle.
Time is of the essence.